I think it sounds to me like Stewart's a person who enjoys an experience because it is good or bad. Is that correct?
Yes,
Right.
I
get that. I get that.
I've-
I want that. That's what I mean. How do I get curiosity? How do
You
I
gotta
get
try-
to where I
just
care to
try
have
more.
500 tabs opened up?
What do you care about? That's my favorite pause of the week. That's my favorite pause of the week. You had a similar pause to that when I asked you what brings you joy, and it took you.
What do you care about and what brings you
It
joy?
took a
Shuts
minute.
you down.
That's the photo that's hanging in my house.
Oh, I like the photo too.
Yeah, it's
It's got a, that's a,
I got it because I like the frame.
uh-huh.
But the people, they're just fascinating people to me. This whole thing is very intentional.
Yes.
And I just, there's something about it. I just want to know what that day was like. I'm really fascinated with the whole day, the outfits,
He
all
looks
of it.
content and happy, and she looks like a serial killer.
See, well, that's a little harsh, but
I wouldn't go serial killer.
I tend to think she put a lot of pressure on that day. You know what I mean? She planned all of that. He's happy to get through it.
That is a roaring fire.
It is a roaring fire,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, not making up stories.
Mm-hmm.
What's your best guess on what that day was?
My best guess is they've not been married incredibly long. Still pretty early. I think she planned that day for weeks ahead of time. This is like a Christmas card or something that she's really trying to impress.
Christmas card's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just
Christmas card's interesting.
new money, a little bit of stature. His name feels like Doug. But I don't know what that day was like, man. You know,
She doesn't seem happy.
Because he's cutting up. He's being a
that's the
jokester
photo
there,
they
yeah.
chose.
He's not taking it seriously.
No.
They chose that photo. So she looks exactly how she wants to look.
I know.
That's
You
a
know what I
good
mean?
point. That's a very good point Eric just made. And it feels like maybe it's the facial expressions, but it feels like she's a little over. She's more dressed than him. Maybe she's not happy about that.
A little disappointed with him.
A little disappointed that he didn't wear the tie.
No tie.
He's not got the tie on. And
Look at the cuffs on his jacket. They're a little looser than you would like, typically, right?
yeah, maybe
You're
she's
so
just,
handsome, Doug. Why wouldn't you? I told you about this day weeks ago. She got a fresh haircut, which I think is always a bad choice to get a fresh haircut before you're going to take a photo.
I don't like it.
Yeah, what if you don't like it? Or it takes a week for that thing to grow in and be.
It really does.
Be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like all the way you're thinking about this. I like it. The couch, the pattern on the couch is not. I'm not liking that for this picture.
They are not home. This is not home. This is some
You don't
sort
think
of
so?
lodge or hotel.
So is it honeymoon?
I don't
No.
think so.
You don't think this is honeymoon?
No.
I
Friends
Why
ski
not?
lodge.
Why not, Tom? He looks happy. She looks mad. That screams honeymoon to me.
I don't think she's mad. I'm not positive that this day went the way she wanted it to, but I think she's trying to look the way she thinks she's supposed to look in a photo. Model-esque, putting some pressure on. Smoldering, yeah. You don't give a fuck.
Tom doesn't
This
care.
is your peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, you go on and on about how to slice bananas, but using your creativity and imagination to create a scene.
I don't have that.
Anyways, yeah. So when I was about to say I'm not sure I would go to the length of buying it, I would. I actually have photos in my house, so I'll go through. When I'm in New York, it's one of my favorite things to do is just go get lost and find a junk shop or a flea market or whatever.
I want to learn this.
And I love old photos, old black and white photos,
Yeah,
man.
me too.
And if there's any indication what's on the back, a date or a name or whatever it is, if something is the right price, I will buy it.
He has a stack of black and white photos of pictures of kids on Santa's lap crying.
Yeah,
Like he
that's a
has
good
like
one.
a
That's
little
great.
collection of those.
That's
That's
fucking
one of the
fantastic.
things that I do. I always say I don't collect anything. I collect everything. But one of the things I do have a tendency to pick up is pictures of kids on Santa's lap that are crying.
That's a fantastic one.
Yeah, because in my opinion, that is the proper emotion to have.
I agree.
Fits.
Yeah.
This is a kid that's going to be, it's already thinking.
Yeah, that kid's all right.
Yeah, that kid's going to be good.
You put a kid on. It's always interesting when you see a parent give their young child to a stranger and it's like, fucking smile. You know what I mean? That's strange, dude.
Yeah.
And this freak has a big beard and
weirdo.
smells like alcohol.
Yeah. Sneaking in the house.
Yes. I mean, what the hell? What kind of
When he comes in, he's going to do his thing. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
He sees you all the time.
Right.
He's always watching you.
I mean, good
Wouldn't
God.
that suck to be like the way you describe your childhood, right?
Right.
Like, why would you ever like Santa? You're like, he sees
He's an
all
art.
of this and he ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
He should be coming down this chimney nightly and kicking my dad's ass.
It's a little bit how I felt about God. When especially in Catholicism, growing up Catholic, God sees everything, blah, 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 blah. When people are in heaven, they get to watch down on you. I'm like, well, fuck all those people, man. Fuck every one of them. You're omnipotent, but people are starving. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go fuck
You got all
yourself.
the channels in the world, and you're watching the shopping channel. Come
Yeah.
on,
Like
get
you're
something else.
hoping your whole family's there at the end, like standing at the gates. And you're just like, you motherfuckers. Kabam, kabam. Like,
I
is that-
practice nonviolence.
Oh,
now,
yeah?
so-
Because it works. That's the reason you practice it.
Yeah, well, the violent
Because
part-
I already have the power. So, when you have power, you can exercise nonviolence.
These in jokes will stay in for sure.
What do we got here? You got a lot of things in frames. You know what I'm
I like
saying?
it.
There's a lot of pictures.
Did you take these off the wall to bring them here?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, Ken Burns actually has done a documentary on this guy, which is, you should watch it. It's not one of the ones that, that was big. It was one of his minor ones, but
It's no Civil War.
right. No Civil War, no baseball. You know what I mean? It's a small, but it's great. Horatio Nelson Jackson. That's this guy's name. Doctor from Vermont. Okay. He goes to San Francisco. He's in a bar in San Francisco. And this is 1900. I had to get the date. Like 1902, something like that.
Real quick before you get away from it, did you find these out on the West Coast?
No.
Okay. I love that specifically when you, I found an old street directory, 1900 Boston street directory. I found it in Danville, Virginia. And the first page when you open it is Trundy Seal Makers.
What?
Yeah. And it was just wild because I found it in Danville, fucking Virginia from Boston. So it's just,
Wow.
it's fantastic how these things travel.
Yeah. And then what's the journey of that book?
Yeah.
Anyway, Vermont doctor, Horatio Jackson. He's in San Francisco. He's in a bar, 1902. He gets in a discussion, an argument, whatever you want to call it, with another guy in there who says that the automobile will never replace the horse. And Horatio Jackson is like, yes, it will. It absolutely, it's the new invention. It's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. The guy says, I'll tell you why it will never replace the horse, because you cannot drive an automobile from coast to coast, but you can ride a horse. You have to stop and let it sleep and eat and blah, 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 but you can ride a horse, and Horatio Jackson says, I absolutely can drive an automobile coast to coast. There's no way you could do that. There's no roads. You know what I mean? $50 bet, $50. So
That's a lot of money back then.
about $1,000. Yeah.
100 free throws.
So Horatio doesn't even own a car. Okay. He doesn't even own a car.
Right.
So he says to his wife, all right, I just made this bet in a bar,
$50.
$50. So I'm going to need you. We're going to put you on the ship by yourself. You're going to go back to Vermont and I can't leave because I got to do this bet. Purchases a car, a convertible with no windshield. And he had actually taken driving lessons because there was such a thing, The car is new. I mean, there's about, what was the number?
How much is the car at that point?
Yeah, that's an issue.
Okay.
He's
You know
getting
what I
into
mean?
a lot. Now he's got a boat.
I love how
Wait a minute,
competitive
like,
he is.
she's heading back to Vermont
She's had their
from
vacation.
San Francisco
their-
on a boat trip.
Their vacation is over, but he's supposed to go back with her, but he's like, I can't go. I gotta
Gotta
do
lose
this thing.
I
$50.
don't want to sound dumb again, but was the Panama Canal built then yet? It wasn't built yet, was it?
Well,
They sent her back on a boat to Vermont.
Would you listen to the story? I have 15 minutes.
Okay, so I'm just saying they got to go all the way around South America to
I
go
have
up
never wanted to cancel Christmas so much in my entire life.
That's just a long-ass bout ride. I'd rather take
This
the
is
car ride.
I'm telling a beautiful story, and you're worried about his wife. She made it.
All right.
Okay, how about that? She lived.
I'm worried.
I don't give a damn if she
I'm worried about
freaking
it.
hang glided back to Vermont. She's not the focus of this story.
He's
Okay?
got another picture frame with her in
Yeah.
it.
Next time I'll bring her picture. But what-
It's a story about how she got from fucking San Francisco to Vermont.
Yeah.
I'm just
Fuck
saying this story is flawed.
God,
Leave
this
her out of it.
story's
Let's
flawed.
find out. Let's find out.
Good Lord.
Okay.
So he gets a car.
So he puts her on a boat.
Is that where we were before I got annoyed?
Yeah.
He buys a car and he hires, like, I think the kid was 18 or something. He's a bicycle mechanic. And he says, I'm going to take this trip. I'm going to drive this car from San Francisco to New York. I don't know anything about repairing an automobile. So he hires this kid to go with him and they take off. And at the time, there's 5,000 vehicles in the United States of America. There's, 15 million horses or something. You know what I mean? They take off. They blow a tire 15 miles down the road. They only had one spare because that literally is the only spare in San Francisco. That's how rare we're talking about automobiles. Wow. They looked around for a complete set of spare tires, only found one. They blew it 15 miles out of town. And they began this trip across the country. There are no roads. So you're on horse trails and driving through fields and all this kind of crap, Most people had never seen an automobile. So there are news reports of him going through town. There's one beautiful one where this journalist said, the entire town is gathered and waiting because at some point he became a celebrity. Like news began to spread that this guy's going to try to drive all across the country in an automobile. And so people are like, when's he coming through our town? And so there's some town, Idaho or something, where all the people in town gathered and the journalist wrote about it and said it was disappointing because he sped through town at such an incredible rate that the human eye could barely comprehend it. He's doing about 9 miles per hour. Most of these humans had never seen, you know what I'm saying? It's incredible. He is breaking down. Many times a horse had to tow him into town.
Right. How fast can a horse run?
I don't know. Probably fast enough to beat the fucking boat back to Vermont.
Probably.
Shut up! I'm telling you.
I'm just saying 9 miles an hour. That's another.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I'm just messing with you. So, and then at some point, and this is the reason I love this story, Eric. At some point, he begins. He's a celebrity, and he's in a Winton automobile. That's the brand name of the car. Well, the Packard Automobile Company realizes, oh my God, this is great advertising.
Yeah.
We got to beat
It's a branding opportunity.
Branding opportunity. Packard, we got to beat this guy. So they set off in a brand new car. He bought his car used. He's in a used Winton with no windshield. And the Packard company starts to try to beat him so they can get good branding, But he chose to go north. So he's going through Oregon, Idaho, that route, right? They chose to go south to try to beat him, which means they have to go over the Rockies, Colorado Rockies. There are no roads, period, but they get stuck in the Rockies. So they're out. And then the Oldsmobile people are like, oh, we got it now. The Packard's out. We got to go. We got to get all the the fame on this. So they take off from California in a brand new Oldsmobile, and they blow a drive shaft or something, and end up only being able to go in reverse. So the Oldsmobile tries to make it across Nebraska in reverse, and finally just give up. And this guy Horatio and somewhere in Idaho they pick up a dog. It's a pit bull.
There's a picture of him with goggles on here. It's very cute.
And there's the
Follow that
car
guy.
and the pit. That's the dog in there. And he makes it across all the way across. It took him 63 days to drive across the country. Cost him $8,000.
Wow.
And he never collected on the bet.
How come?
Because the guy welched. Can I say welch? Is that a thing?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know the reason. I don't know if he.
It looks like a tractor made out of yarn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did he does anybody know why he chose the route he chose specifically? Did he?
It had been tried several times before, and the easiest route people thought was you go south. You're going south is easier, but they don't. This is all just stuff I've read, but they don't imagine how bad the Rockies are going to be.
Right.
Right. So, and he got advice early on. If you're going to try this, there's been 3 attempts or however many, and they've all gone south and failed. So, and okay, well then we're going to go north. And it literally was that he had no maps.
It's so interesting to think, horses can travel up to 55 miles an hour is what I just read. But it's interesting to think about him driving through 9 miles an hour through a town faster than the human eye can fathom. We can't fathom a lack of roads.
Right.
I can't picture what that would be like to go anywhere without roads now.
And knowing that
even bad roads.
Exactly. When you're on a dirt road now and it's you're like, good Lord, this is horrible. Oh my God.
Hold it up.
Right? I mean, you imagine driving across.
What's that?
You don't even want to do it.
He said,
No, it's fine. Here I go. Look, I'm holding it. Those are cool. That's a cool looking car, really. I like the wheels on it. My OCD, I'm annoyed. I think that's bad writing.
What's bad writing? The actual story?
No, to say he went through town 9 miles an hour faster than the human eye can comprehend when they've seen horses run 55 and run through town. So that's just bad writing. It's not going faster than a horse does.
What if it's good writing because it got people to read the story?
And we're talking about it.
And it's a little bit of exaggeration, right?
Is anybody else in this room fascinated to the level that I am about Tom's brain?
Yeah, I'm pretty
You
fascinated.
mean by that mean annoyed? Because you're sitting kind of annoyed by it.
I'm not joking around. I'm not trying to get to a punchline. I think we're friends because I am fascinated by your brain. I can't believe you just heard that whole story and you said, I got an issue with this whole journalist in Idaho.
Well, I don't trust his reporting, is all I'm saying. I'm saying everything he said in that article is suspect because
you haven't even read it.
The part that you read to me had a huge discrepancy to me. You can faster than the human eye can see, which I think is it's a great little thing to look at and be like, oh wow, he's right, because they had never seen a car before and it's humming through town, and that's a pretty cool way of saying. But the logic of it breaks down because they've seen a horse that does run 55. Like that annoys me. I think that he could say, "Oh, it was beautiful to see it go through town."
Did they know how were miles per hour a thing back then? You know what I mean?
He has to know that the horse is running right by it.
Look, I met a guy in Louisiana one time, and he told me the story about when he was young. I mean, this guy, when I met him, was just as an old man, right? When he was very young, I think, if I remember correctly, we started talking. We were in this diner that I really loved. It's the worst food that I've ever been served and paid for.
You like the strangest things, man. You like to stay in a crappy hotel with holes in the wall.
Oh,
you like
this
to
diner.
Eat in restaurants that are
you would have
terrible.
loved it, Eric. You would have loved it. This diner.
I assume you'd have loved it.
Because you poke holes in everything.
No, I'm saying, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying you just like a lot of strange. You like bad food. You like bad hotels.
There are some people who like good things. There are some people who like bad things, and there are people who like experiences. And I think it sounds to me like Stewart's a person who enjoys an experience because it is good or bad. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. I get that. I want that. That's what I mean. How do I get curious? How do I get to where I care to have 500 tabs opened up?
What do you care about? That's my favorite pause of the week. You had a similar pause to that when I asked you what brings you joy, and it took you.
What do you care about, and what brings you joy?
It took a minute.
Shuts you down.
He still hasn't met. I think he had one thing that brought him joy. But I love these pauses because I know you've not thought about it, but it's an honest question that you don't have an answer for, and that makes me curious. You know what I mean?
It makes me happy. Because everything else that is thrown at you, anything else, you You know what I mean? Like, hey, Tom, I got great news. I'm in love. And you're like, why do you pronounce it that way?
Why do you say great news?
Yeah, yeah.
Why great? Why'd you choose great?
Yeah.
You know,
It is an
you
interesting-
nitpick everything, but he goes, what do you like? And you like it had never
I like
occurred
lava
to you.
cake.
I had some last night.
Yeah? Where would you have it from?
Maisie made it. It was delicious.
She made lava cake?
Hmm
On
That's why.
purpose?
That's why I had to go get the eggs.
Okay, hold on. So
You got to marry that girl.
it's a
She
good
makes
call.
lava cake.
Yeah, making
That is-
lava cake is special.
It is
So, you're not fascinated with individual stories or specific things, but
I'm not saying I'm not fascinated. I think it's fascinating to hear these stories and be like, man, thank God you looked into
why'd
that.
the reporter write that line? But you are fascinated with like TikTok and stuff like that.
Not really. I mean, I
No,
say,
you are. You said it replaced television for you. You spend
I was
hour
thinking
a
about
day
that the
on
other
it.
day. I'm not as much anymore already. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I'm not fascinated by it. I don't know. I will spend time in there. Like if I'm like, I need to find a workout or blah, 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 or I want to show Owen like a thing for blah. Or
What's a thing that pains you because you don't know enough about it? Is there anything that you wish you knew more about? He looks at his
Everything.
books.
Everything.
Everything, yeah. Except for this fucking guy.
No, I'm enjoying
No,
this guy. I'm enjoying this. I'm an instant like somebody should do a story about this. Not me, but somebody should
Ken
do a story
Burns.
that I don't. Oh, Ken Burns.
The Ken
did a
Burns
story?
documentary, actually. I just
Oh, they
looked up
have
the
done
name.
a story on it, and I didn't
Yeah.
care.
I'll watch that this evening.
It's
God damn. See,
It's
that's what I
good.
mean. The list of things you have to do. I do have like a list of books in my phone that as I'm reading a book and they reference a book or a friend of mine tells me about, I'll put it in my list of books that I want to one day go to Amazon and get, you know?
But
and
you know,
sometimes
I just
do.
had to scroll back to where it is, and it's taken me a minute to get all the way back to
See,
the.
never mind. I don't want that. I don't want that many tabs open. I want my Braves tab open and my Google tab, and then I go and Google something, and then I'm like, I read a little bit about it, and then I close that tab and don't go back to that.
Horatio's Drive, America's First Road Trip. It's an hour and 46 minutes. It's available on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Have you watched it?
That's on my
Yeah,
list.
I've seen it. It's very good.
Okay. Had you already done all your research before you watched it, or did that give you a bulk of your
No,
research?
I was like, I found him in a junk shop, and that's a cool looking car.
That is
And
a
there's-
really cool car.
And there's a pit bull in it with goggles
Right,
on.
right,
Are you
right.
kidding me?
This draws my
Great.
attention way more than the Emperor one.
Yeah.
And I love your
How come?
frames, man. I love
Yeah, the
the
frames are great.
Yeah. Well, I kind of do a thing where if I see a cool frame for $3, then I buy it.
Same. That's why I have that one in my house.
Yeah. So that picture didn't come in that frame. I put that picture in that frame because
Yeah,
I
it's
like
the right
that frame.
frame for it.
Yeah, you know what I would do? I would go to like
Michael's.
Michael's and buy some shittier version of that for $300.
Some patinaed. Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
That's why.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I enjoy. I never really call them junk shops, I guess, but I like places like that, antique shops, flea markets, whatever. It gives me a real break from the chatter. It also takes my ADD off the table for me. Any negative fixation that I get, if I have a thought and I just can't get out of it, you have no choice when you're walking through an antique mall but to see different things constantly and be attracted to one thing specifically.
I think I might do it. I think I
It's
might start
very-
There's
trying
one
it.
right near my place. You should come by. I walked right into it. I knew it was coming too, man. I fucking saw it coming. God damn it.
Can we go get a sandwich? Go hatch up.
I'm gonna make you go.
But no, I mean, I used to walk around bookstores just to be like, look for ideas, like, and what I want to talk about or write about. It'd be so you could do the same thing there. It's like they're idea machine places. Like,
Yeah.
I love that you are fascinated. You guys are fascinated by these things. It's just
What you like reading books because there's thought and there are thoughts and stories and facts and all this right? That's
Is it the presentation
reason-
of it?
the same reason I like you telling me a story or you telling me a story that you've looked into. It's
Right.
like, that's cool. And then I can be like, well, what about this? Why would the reporter say that? But I get the story. I like that. But I don't want to do all the
I mean,
work.
I don't want to
I don't want to
You don't want to cook the meal. You want to eat the meal.
That's right. I don't want to go watch Ken Burns talk about a thing for an hour and a half.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds
It does sound fucking
Ken
great.
Burns rocks.
I'm very excited about this.
I'm a huge baseball fan, and I can't make it through his 97-part documentary.
Dude, I got the
on
box
baseball.
set.
I do too. I bought it thinking this will be great, and it's like, this is good for.
You started complaining about the packaging,
Just whatever.
and you haven't got into the first disc yet.
I started watching it, and it's just like.
What year did the Braves win? Which disc is that on?
When do they introduce John Smoltz? Let me get to that.
You were
Chipper's not in any of this.
But
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to. I just thought something, but I'm not going to say it.
But I love that you do that. Like, that's what excites me. That I got a friend that two of them now that I realize. I didn't even realize that about you. That you
I didn't really realize it myself. It's just been a thing I do. But I don't I don't do it to that level. I am interested in this stuff though. I'm more. I would see that picture. I would take some pictures of it and open a tab and. When I wake up in the morning, man, it's either I look up these trips or I just scroll through tabs, stop, and then I will spend however much time.
I think I would do like
great.
you. I would see the thing and take a picture of it. You know what I'm saying? And then keep the picture and look at it and be like, oh, whatever. I don't think I would buy the thing because it'd be like, there's more shit in my attic. You know what I mean? I don't need more of that. And I don't, I don't have your scratch. This guy's got more money than us. You know what I'm saying? If you had Stewart Huff's money flowing, would you be buying the actual thing, or would you?
There was there's a green car that I use in one of my sketches for the old Cadillac. When I drove in here, Neil was in here, and I walked in, and the first thing I said to him was, "This is why I don't have your money, because if I had your money, I'd find out whose car that was and I'd buy it."
Yeah.
Like I'm fascinated with that car for no reason. I don't even know if the fucking thing works. So yeah, if I had money in a place to put stuff, I don't have money and not a place to put stuff, and I still buy shit I should.
I have a video of you driving in with your kids and they have the plants sticking out of the
I went and
car.
bought all the trees for the sketch. Yeah.
You got to use that as an opening for one of the Never Been Happier, like him driving in happy.
That's why I've kept it so long.
Yeah.
I'd be a really bad rich person or a good one, depending. Depending on your point of view. Like I'd be rich for probably 8 days.
I'm a really bad poor person. Yeah.
Right.
I would like to be rich and be like the emperor and just go around and make people.
Oh, are you kidding? It'd be incredible.
Yeah.
But when I can't afford something, then I do take a picture of it. And you know what I mean? There's right before you cross into the UP of Michigan, there's a junk shop right there that has a prison dental chair that they would strap the prisoners in with a giant cage around their head, and it has a little door that you could open and get in.
I bet that dentist was gentle.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That chair is awesome.
I bet,
and I think they want something like $7,000 for it or something, which is probably reasonable, but I don't have $7,000. So I took a couple pictures of it, if I had $7,000, it wouldn't even occur to me.
What's to stop you?
Yeah. I would give them the $7,000, and then I would give them my address and say, pay someone to come over here and pack this up and ship it to my house.
If you could only pick like 5 places, like junk shop or stores or store, like junk shop owner places that you could go, you only had, like, you're out of time. Your life is, it's over. You got 5 more places you can go. Would you go and find 5 of the ones that you can think of in your head from around the country or whatever, or would you just drive and try to find
5 new ones?
Just 5 new ones with everyone?
Yeah, I think I'd go 5 new ones.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
What
especially
if there was 2 that would you go 5, or would you throw in a couple of those, or that's it, 5 brand new ones?
I mean, the joy to there's several things I like about this, whatever you want to call it, junk wasting, junk education, whatever you want to call it. There's several things I like about it, but the biggest one is it's a calming thing. You walk around these places, and they're very rarely are they loud, or there's usually not a lot of people in them, and it's very calming to me. And then, so I'm in a kind of peaceful, good state of mind, and then I'll see something that I'm like, what is that? And then curiosity is just flying like a child. So if I would, if I knew I was going to die and I only had, then I would want to put myself in a position to where maybe I could experience that feeling again a couple of times before I died. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going someplace that I already know what's there. And then that would just be like a memory, like, oh, I want to go through here one more time. No, I'd want to, and maybe I would strike out and not see anything in there that would, create that curiosity. But I'd rather roll the dice.
It's the possibility.
Yeah.
Do people specifically get a store and open it, or is it like let's say your house right now and it gets just full of stuff and your wife leaves you and everybody's like, oh, we can't live like this anymore. And then you're just like, and you just turn your house into the junk shop, and then eventually once you're like, I'm going to start selling this stuff, or do people move it all to a specific shop?
Do you open a junk shop, or does a junk shop happen?
Yeah, exactly. That's a better way to answer that question.
The best ones is when a junk shop happens.
Because it's almost curated from a specific type of curiosity, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of junk shops local around
So
here.
there's a joy to them, and there's like a heartbreak that they're getting rid of their stuff.
And you can tell too. And then there's one north of Cincinnati, kind of in the farmland up there, that you have to go to the guy's house, ring his doorbell, and then the junk shop is across the street in the old barn. And so then he'll come out there with like a robe on and a cup of coffee and go, all right. And he'll go over there and he'll just stand there while you go through his barn. And there is no credit cards accepted, none of that stuff.
He's not even really trying to sell it, probably, right? He just wants to show it to you. And
it feels like he kind of knows he has to because this is getting out of hand. But if you hit upon something that he has a real attachment to, you can feel him. $700.
He just makes up a price that's too high.
Oh, everything is, there's no prices. So you'll say, how much is this? $20. And you'll be like, okay, I'll take that. But
could have got more.
When he hits that, when you ask about that thing that he really loves, $700, and you're like, that's crazy, $700. That's one he doesn't want to get rid of.
This is a show. You go around the junk places with Tom. It's American pickers, but one of them doesn't want to be there picking.
One of them is not the picker.
I'm in, dude. And then you can make me like the story of the thing. You can come.
It's like the X-Files.
You'll be our Google guy, right? You mean you're like, I got 47 tabs open on this thing already. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. But the whole thing, that would be funny because it would be, we'd walk through the door and Tom would be like, free mints? Who does that? Who does that? And that's all. You would not let it go. Be like, it's COVID. Free. How many people? We got to get out of here.